You want to know how to start your very own food truck business. I can tell you one thing, my friend, you're in the right place. Whether you're a chef that's trying to get started, whether you're just somebody that loves to cook and you have a meal or a type of cuisine that people definitely need to taste, maybe you're in a tent and your next goal is to get to a food truck, this is exactly the video for you. Now, if you don't know who I am, if this is your first time with me, my name is Chef Andrea Armstrong. I was able to take my food truck from making $19,000 in revenue in the first year to making $500,000 in revenue in the second year. That is a huge jump. A lot of people ask me, Chef Andrea, how did you do it? Can you show me how to do it? What do I need to do to open my food truck so I can start making that kind of money and having that kind of success? There are different systems that I did put in place down the line, but overall, to start my business, I started the same way that everyone else did. But there's a lot of things that everyone isn't going to tell you. So I made this guide right here for you. I know you're going to find it helpful. I'm going to be dropping a lot of gems, so make sure you stick around and let's get started. How to start a food truck, a complete guide for new operators. Now, yes, starting a food truck is one of the most exciting ways to enter the food industry, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. So, we're going to get into the first thing that you need to do, which is so important, and people overlook this step as being the first step. The first thing you need to do is choose your concept and menu before you even look for permits, before you apply for permits, before you think about branding. You need to decide exactly what you're going to sell. Your menu becomes a foundation for almost every decision you make. Now, I will tell you this. If you're looking to build a successful food truck, these are the most successful food truck brands or food truck cuisines that are out there that's making so much money. Tacos, anything that has chicken involved, people are going to eat that up. Chicken is the number one selling protein in America. Burgers, come on now, everybody love burgers. Unless I got my vegan people on here, unless I got my vegan people, but everybody love burgers. But I mess with the vegan burgers now. Hispanic cuisine, barbecue, and do not overlook desserts. The special thing about desserts is they don't take up a lot of space. You're not out there baking whole sheet cakes if you're baking cakes. So you can actually hold a lot of storage, which means you have a lot of inventory that you can sell at certain events or even just a standalone setup place. These concepts work because they already high in demand. I know certain things like, oh, it's a lot of taco trucks out here. We don't want to be another one. It's a lot of taco trucks out here for a reason. And also, if you make good tacos, put it on that truck. Now, the one thing I don't want you to get caught up in when it comes to your menu is trying to be so different. Because when you're trying to be different, you're definitely going to risk your menu not being repeatable for other employees to make, and you start bringing yourself into a position where you're looking at food costs being high. But we'll touch on that later. One of the last things I will say about this is a food truck cuisine that I do not recommend is soul food. Soul food takes a lot of prep. I don't know about y'all, but making Thanksgiving dinner every day, that ain't my style. It takes a lot of prep, and it doesn't really hold well after a while. You know what I mean? So just kind of be mindful of that. And also, because you'll have so many items that include soul food, you start going into profit leakage. Your menu also determines your equipment. This is very, very important. A lot of people, myself including, got in the food truck and then tried to make the menu after, and now you're basing your menu around what equipment you have available. So when you have your menu before you even start looking for the truck, you're able to know what equipment you need to cook certain things. So then when you go look for a truck, you can determine whether this is the right truck for you. Number two, know your numbers. Before purchasing a food truck, it's important to understand the full cost of getting your business on the road. Most people think, oh, I'm gonna just get a truck and I'm gonna just do this, or they just leave out important factors. Startup costs can often include the truck or the trailer, equipment, installation, permits, licensing, initial inventory, insurance, branding, graphics, POS system, working capital. Like, These are things that people do not think about, and obviously, depending on the type of state or location you're in, or the type of the type of condition that your food truck is in, you may need to do some extra work to that. So when I got my food truck, I had to put an extra $20,000 in it. So be prepared for things like that to arise. Number 3, licensing, permits, and certifications. Now, we got the menu together. We know our numbers. Now, we need to get the license, permits, and certifications. Always, you need your business license. You need your health department license. You need your food handler certification. But not just any food handler certification. You need a manager food handler certification. If you are the owner of a food truck, you got to have your manager certification. Commissary agreement, especially depending on the type of state that you're in. They want you to be set up. Most states want you to be set up at a food commissary. So you're going to need to establish a relationship with them and get that note from them for the health department. Fire inspection, sales tax permits. There are a lot of things that need to be put in place. But one thing I do want to focus on tremendously, make sure we got that business license. Make sure it's a lot of benefits that you could be getting by having your business listed as an entity. And I want to make sure you get those benefits. Maybe I'll do another video on that talking about it. But this information is everywhere. You can just look it up. But get your business license so you could be established as a business. You're able to protect your business when you separate you from the business. Maybe I should do it. Like I say, it's a lot of information that goes with that, such as not putting the business in your name. You know what I mean? So look that information up. That's very important. Now, how we gonna find the truck? What type of truck we getting? Once you finalize your menu, you can begin looking for the right truck or trailer. This order matters because your kitchen should be designed around what you're serving, not the other way around. I cannot explain enough. When I started my food truck, I was happy to get it and I was blessed to get it. So there's no complaints there. But I had to work with what I had. And I had to okay, I got this, I got that. I want to cook this, but I don't have a fryer. Well, what can I do? It's very important to get all of that stuff squared away first. So here's the circumstances behind buying new, buying used, or building out your own. When you're buying a new food truck, it gives you the opportunity to customize your layout, equipment, storage from the beginning, which is always great. Y'all know we love that shiny stainless steel. When you buying used, it's often a more affordable option, which was the option that I took, and I would not trade it for anything. And you can get into business much faster. However, it's important to budget for repairs, maintenance, and equipment upgrades that may not be obvious during the initial purchase. Again, I got my food truck. I had to rewire the whole electrical off top. I had to fix the roof. I had a couple things I had to fix on the roof. I also had to get a fire suppression system in that it wasn't in there before. So I got a good truck, but there are some things that I had to add to it to make sure it was ready to pass inspection. Now, when it comes to building out your truck, I know people that build out their truck, but every modification should be made with efficiency and compliance in mind. Some people don't use the right grade equipment or the right grade material to build a truck, and when the health department comes out and see it, you have to take it up and do it again. You don't want to waste that time. Also, keep in mind that building out your truck takes longer, and it may take just as much as buying a new one. But the thing about it is you don't need all the money up front. You can obviously work at your own pace. But when buying, when building out, just make sure fire code compliance, certified commercial equipment, storage space. Make sure you're building out with efficiency. Now let's go to commissary and kitchen setup. Most cities require your food trucks to operate out of a licensed commissary kitchen. That is so important. A commissary kitchen serves as your home base for food preparation, cleaning, storage, filling water tanks, and disposing of wastewater. You cannot dispose of wastewater anywhere. wastewater, grease, all of those things have to be disposed of properly. Before you sign a lease, make sure the commissary meets your local health department requirements. And then also, as you begin purchasing your equipment and supplies, we got to focus on where, wait a minute now, I don't want to be ahead of myself, hold on. Okay, we kind of talked about the equipment supporting the menu, for sure. Now, branding, marketing, and hiring. This is where, don't get scared. This is where some people get a little spooked. But if you've done all the other steps correctly and you're getting to this point, you're about ready to open. But now we want to make sure that when you open, you're not disappointed and you set yourself up for success. So your brand, your brand should communicate who you are and what customers expect. This is something that I would advise you to lock down as early on as you can. Sometimes you don't really know your brand or what, your business is going to be representing, but that's okay. Sometimes you're like myself. You have to learn as you go. And as I went through my food truck, I'm actually finally understanding what I want my brand to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. A strong brand builds recognition, trust, and makes your business easier to remember. I had to learn this. Marketing. Now, let me tell you something a lot of us do. A lot of us, we get the money. We able to get the food truck. We get so excited. We buy all these groceries because our food is so good. We know that all we need to do is make one Facebook post, and then we gonna sell out. And then we open up, and nobody's there. Why is that? It's because you didn't do a good job marketing. The marketing, or sometimes marketing should begin before your grand opening. Sometimes we open up and then we start posting. Because we don't want to why we ain't post before? We didn't want to let the people down. We didn't want to, no, you should be building anticipation. One thing I can't stress enough is that people want what they want. People want what they want. Man, I had to push my opening back 3 times. And I still did. My first day over $1,000 in the food truck because people, they were waiting for me. And they understood nothing's going to be perfect. Don't waste your time trying to be perfect. Put behind the effort in trying to be right. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference in trying to be perfect and trying to be right. I want to be right. So build it, start sharing your journey. Even when you building your food truck up, share your journey, introduce your menu, and document the build out. That creates anticipation and gives people reason to support your business from day one. The goal simply isn't to announce that you're open. It's to build an audience that's excited for you to open. Now, one of the things that my program teaches is, well, I wouldn't say we teach a couple things, but one thing my content definitely teaches is letting people know that, baby, you're not a small business. You're just a big business in a small building. When a restaurant opens up, they're hiring people, they're marketing, they're getting the word out there, they getting staff. So why is it that when food trucks open up, we don't do the same thing? We open up with just us. We're creating owner dependency before the business even opens. When you do that, when you start your business, your food truck with just you, it's gonna be harder to get you up out of there. It's hard to replace the things that you do with other people while you still working in the business. I got other videos. I have other videos that I'm making on that, on owner dependency. I got one up right now. Make sure y'all check it out. It'll help you in the long run if you don't have a food truck yet. But owner dependency is something that I preach about, that we want to stop food truck owners from getting into. And if they're in it, we want to help get them out of it. So Start looking at people and hiring. It deserves early attention, even if you're about to open. Even if your first team is small, setting clear expectations and establishing simple systems from the beginning will make future growth much easier. The habits your first employees develop often become the culture of your business. Again, I'm telling you, if you do all of these things in the correct order, they are all useful. But if you get your brand and you don't market and you hire people, you're going to be paying people for no reason because you're not going to have customers. But if you do this in order, you get your brand, you build trust, you start marketing, you create that anticipation for your business, you start hiring. That way when you open, not only are you busy, but you're not paying people for no reason, and you have people there so your customers aren't waiting 30 to 40 minutes for a plate. These three areas, branding, marketing, and hiring, don't just help you launch successfully, they lay the foundation for building a business that customers recognize, employees enjoy working for, and owners can eventually grow beyond themselves. Come on, man. We preaching. Choosing your POS system. POS stands for point of sale. Point of sale systems equal. We got Toast. I think you got Clover, Square. Everybody knows Square. Apple Pay is not a POS system. I believe QuickBooks even has a POS system for you. Yeah, I've used QuickBooks before. Cash App is not a POS system. Zelle is not a POS system. I ain't saying we ain't gonna take them. I ain't saying we're not gonna take them. But I'm just saying that's not POS systems. We want your business to be set up correctly, okay? And then when you have your business set up correctly with POS systems, these POS systems now, they come with inventory management, sales reporting. You need to know how much you made. You need to know how much you sold. You need to know what you sold. Don't just put $20 in for each item. Have these items have a button. When people want an itemized receipt, it tells them that they got 3 shrimp tacos and 2 carne asada tacos. It tells them that. It don't just say taco, taco, taco. Well, which one? What am I being charged for? Is there a price difference? Why is this one different than that one? All kind of things. You can set up, I say your sales reporting, customer loyalty programs. You want to start collecting that data. It's a reason that they ask you for your email and phone number. Then they text your phone later on that night and tell you got $5 off because you came in today and bought some fries. That's marketing. That's the way to keep people coming in. That's what POS systems are all fantastic for. Now, when it comes to finding location and events, some of the common opportunities include breweries, wineries, office parks, apartment communities. That's a big one right there. Apartment communities, when the communities are so large, they have food trucks come out and sit out in the front by the office, and they let the people that live there know, and they're able to come down and get something to eat. Weddings, schools, universities, hospitals, construction sites, good places. Now, you've done everything that we already talked about, and you've made it to launch week. Your first week in business will almost certainly be imperfect, and that's okay. Long ticket times, running out of ingredients, equipment issues, and unexpected challenges are all part of the learning process. Don't expect perfection. Focus on learning and improving each day. This ain't no further from the truth. People say, Andrea, how did you make $500K in 1 year? Because I went through my first week imperfect, and that's okay. I had long ticket times. I ran out of ingredients. I had equipment issues. I had unexpected challenges, but they were all part of the learning process. Okay? Keep your menu simple. You know what? I think we touched on that, but that's a big one. Keep that menu simple. Customers hate being overwhelmed. If you have more than, I would say, 10 items on your menu, you're starting to do yourself a disservice. And them 10 items, they should be used. A lot of them should have the same ingredients, should have the same proteins. People don't like being overwhelmed. People think that when you have a large menu, that, oh, I'm giving them more options. No, you're giving them more headache. You're giving yourself more things to prep. You're giving yourself more food to waste. You're giving your employees more food, more things to mess up on. You get what I'm saying? Less is more. People love simplicity. Why do you think I mentioned earlier taco trucks, chicken trucks, burgers? Because people just love something simple. Add your little flavor on it. Add your little razzle dazzle on it. But keep it simple. Keep it simple. When you have a large menu, again, inventory levels, prep quantities, ticket times, those are the things that kind of like start messing up. But this whole thing right here, that's what you want to pay attention to during your first week. Now, we've made it to the end, but I got to do an honorable mention. I have a story behind this honorable mention. Always put your health first. Building a food truck can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also be physically and mentally demanding. Y'all, I know we want to get money. I know we don't want to feel like a failure. I know we want to put our best foot forward. I know we want to keep a smile on our face and we don't want to give up. But we also got to keep our health as a priority. And if your body is telling you something, please listen to it. Before I stayed up just about almost 72 hours straight before my grand opening, making sure everything was right. Trying to make sure everything was perfect. And I did not realize that I had torn my meniscus. It wasn't a deep tear, but something was wrong. I could barely put weight on my knee. It wasn't right. Y'all, do y'all know, because I had to keep going, that I did not get that knee checked out for over a year? And I had been walking on a torn meniscus. It wasn't until I moved to Houston. I was walking on a torn meniscus for over a year because it started acting up again. We can't do that. As leaders, we can't do that. Many entrepreneurs wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. In reality, burnout leads to poor decisions, lower productivity, strained relationship, and even a business that begins to suffer. Your business will always benefit from having a healthy owner. If your business is in chaos, look at your life and determine if your life is in chaos as well. Your business is a reflection of who you are and how you run your life outside of the business. Y'all, if you have any questions, please drop them below. If you want this document, it's going to be in the description below. Just click on it. You should be able to access it. If y'all have any questions, drop them in the link. If you feel like I missed something, drop it in the link. If you want to know anything, drop it in the link. Drop it in the chat. If you want to know anything, drop it in the chat. I'm here for y'all. Please be on the lookout for many more videos on the way for every level of this food truck game. I got you. All right, y'all. Have a good one.